We'll be done in just a little bit. We'll leave it. We'll leave that going.
That's real life.
That's right. This is how it works. So if you want to look at the charts again, this is just like I said, the disaggregated part of the raw data she gave me. You can see here overall behavior trend. This just kind of shows you by month, what we were kind of seeing with some of the different areas of discipline. Nothing really stood out as being a real issue, other than maybe like we talked about earlier, the bus disturbance and bus behavioral problems, mainly because of the amount of time that is spent on the bus in comparison to other areas. So that's that particular chart. The next one is just another chart showing the behavioral trend. And it's kind of what you expect to see once school starts, right? Our behavior kind of peaked around September. Students are just getting back into the swing of things. And then really we show a really nice trend down. Obviously the behavioral methods and strategies we're using are working because it continuously decreases throughout the year. A spike around Christmas, right? Again, what we typically see. And then the next one is event type. So this is where you can see, obviously, at first glance, disturbance, disruptive, disorderly conduct is a big one. If you look at the numbers, and I'll go over that in a little more detail in a minute. And then the second one, of course, is bus disturbance and then attendance, which I know is something that Mr. Hendricks and Ms. Fortney have been working on a little bit as well. Next is location. So again, classroom being the dominant one. Again, considering the amount of time they're in the class, that's what we expect to see. And then the bus one, which was a bit of a concern. And then the last one was by student number. And of course, I put numbers on it for confidentiality reasons for submitting this to other people. But if you go back and look at these numbers and who these students are, these are our usual suspects. These are our repeat offenders, and like I said, I'll kind of talk about this a little bit more in detail in a second. Real small percentage of our population, not very many students at all. So that's just kind of the data in a nutshell. The presentation, you can kind of read through this. I'll kind of hit some of the highlights. The data was collected from August of 2015 through January 2016. That was the data used for this improvement plan. Initially, it showed a large number of classroom referrals, disruptive or disorderly disruptive conduct. I don't know what that was. As I kind of looked at it further, there were obviously a large number of referrals in this area, but most of them, again, were repeat offenders, and it was about 6% of our student population. So, again, very small numbers. Also, if you look at it further, these are majority of our special education students who are already receiving intensive interventions, Tier 2, Tier 3 interventions are already in place for these students. More concerning, again, based on the amount of time spent on the bus with the number of bus referrals. And I know after talking to Michelle a little bit about it, the other issue is that a lot of things that happen on the bus, there isn't a referral submitted. It's a bus driver kind of saying something to Mr. P while he's at the bus loop, or mentioning it to a teacher or something like that. So we have no real formal documentation of that particular issue, which was brought up another concern, which is kind of getting our bus drivers on board with writing referrals and things like that. So based on that data and that information, we kind of been discussing some strategies. And the four strategies we've kind of knocked around are listed here. Obviously, the ones that we could potentially implement now, again, having about a month left of school, one of the challenges is whether or not we want to fully implement these or not. At this point, my recommendation would be, number one, we can support bus drivers and include them in promoting positive behavior by supplying them with some extra Bearcat tickets. We kind of talk about the ticket blitz. It's kind of a behavioral blitz. It's obviously something we do kind of returning from breaks. When you come back from a long break, just kind of, reinforcing those behaviors strongly for the first week or two, getting students back on task. We can do that with the bus drivers, giving them just a big stack of tickets and obviously encourage them to aggressively reward positive behavior. That would be fairly easy to implement. Number two is review bus expectations with students. We can take a few minutes in classrooms, one morning, and just kind of go back over proper behavior and safety issues with students. If we wanted to, we could do a little Master of May bus rider kind of reward. Maybe ask each bus driver to identify 1 or 2 students that exhibit really good positive bus behavior over the month of May. Then we could reward them with something, free homework pass or something kind of small and easy to put into place. So what do you feel as far as those 2 strategies? Any feedback on maybe what we could?
I think the ticket blitz would be really effective. My kids, whenever there's 1 or 2 bus drivers that are really consistent about using the tickets,
right.
and those kids come in and they're ready to start off their day in a really positive way. I got this from my bus driver.
Right.
So it's their first adult contact.
Right. Yeah.
So if they get that positive feedback from their first adult contact, it makes the rest of the day better.
Absolutely.
I would like to know too if they're using them in the afternoon, because I know they're using them in the morning and see the kids coming in with them in the
Right.
morning. When we get our kids off the bus in the afternoon, we see them getting them, as they're coming out. But are they getting used
On the
when
way
they
home.
as they're getting dropped off, or is it because it's such a hurried thing
Right.
that they're forgetting that part of it?
Good. We could maybe kind of talk about that side of it as well. It kind of related to the same idea. If we can start them off positively, they maybe they didn't have a great day at school that day, but they get off the bus, boom, they get a Bearcat ticket. That can kind of turn things around a little bit for them and kind of leave them with at least a positive feeling at the end of the day. Okay.
I also like the idea of the Master of May because that's our reward time.
Right.
This is when we're acknowledging our students who have done good
Right.
things all year, and bus behavior is a huge part of that. They should be rewarded for that.
And I think that would be easy enough again for bus drivers to implement. Is just say, hey, pick
They
1 or
give
2.
us the names, we
Yeah.
can take care
Right.
of the
Right.
certificates or
Right.
rewards.
Yeah, we'll do all the rewarding on our side for that
And it could
particular
even be a
case.
part of our 3rd trimester reward thing.
Right.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
already had a
reward
ceremony
recognizing that
established.
ceremony,
Scheduled and ready to go. Okay.
Are you trying to reach the 6% in both of those, or are you trying to reach the other 94 who doesn't cause the problem?
Well, the 6% are really more classroom type issues.
Okay.
What we're trying to reach here are really just students in general, because again, based on the data, our next area of improvement was shown to be bus behavior. That's the other area that we have a little bit of concern with. Again, how many students are there? We would have to probably collect more data for that to really see the number. But if you have 19 referrals in just a 5-month period, and bus drivers aren't writing,
I think that's referrals. Usually that means we're
Right.
saying we really need you to write
we're
this
seeing
up.
much
And
larger
Because a lot of
number.
times it's just them grabbing us and saying, hey, or calling on the radio and saying we need an administrator on the bus, and then we go out in the morning and then we take it. So those are just the ones that actually get written up.
And I find that the bus drivers don't have the same expectation for all students, and they're more likely to write up
I agree.
intermediate students than they are primary students.
Right.
And I hear all the time, he needs to get himself under control, this needs to stop, but I never see a referral
Right.
because my kids are 6, they're little.
Right.
But they should have the same expectation.
And we tell our bus drivers that too. I mean, I had one pull me in a couple different times. I'm like, you're gonna have to write them up. You're gonna have to write them up. Yeah.
But I
he
think
used
they
he used
hesitate
the
to
Sharpie all
because
over
of
the
their
seat.
age.
Right.
Write them up.
Right.
He knows
We
better.
have a student in our class in 4th grade that their parent is a bus driver, and they'll give. Well, the kids say they give out tickets to their child just for no reason.
Right.
So that's a little bit of an issue that we have seen.
Well, and that's
too.
something we can talk about too. We can
My mouse pad there. Thank you very much. Okay.
I think, and as far as that 6% of students that you're talking about, like the ones who already have IEPs and things like that, some of them already
Yeah, they
have
usually
special
have.
transportation. And many of them
Right.
already have
And there's-
special transportation.
And there's another strategy down here that might help with that percentage. Those again, those repeat offenders, those students that maybe need that extra intervention. We can talk about here in a second. So yeah, again, I think we heard a lot of the same things. Getting bus drivers on board, writing referrals has always been an issue because one, if we write it, now we've got that documentation, that formal data showing us what the real number is.
Can we make it easier for them? I think
I-
that's part of the problem is it's time consuming.
Absolutely.
So can we make, like pre-written and all they have to do is name and
Right.
That's pretty much all they have to do.
I started to say that, and then just specific the incident, because they vary. It's like
Because I have heard, I don't have time
Right.
for that. But we've got to make the time.
Maybe, and again, I think that's a future implement, and I think that's something we can put into place, some strategies for next year. I think trying to do that now would kind of be.
Well, and I feel like maybe the goal should be to try to increase a positive behavior, not through punishing kids that are doing
Right.
negative things, but like we talked about for next year, really looking at trying to increase positive behavior by really rewarding kids that are doing what they're supposed to, so that more kids. That's some of the things we talked about.
And I think the Bearcat Ticket Blitz will help with that here at the end of this year. Now, the other strategy here, you can see number 3, increase the number of referrals submitted by bus drivers. And again, we don't want to, obviously we don't want an onslaught of referrals, and we don't want them, just writing referrals to write them. We want them to write them when there really needs to be a referral. And I think in order to do that, we really need to meet with them. And I know I know some schools have done this in the past, and I know our school has done this in the past a few years ago. But one of the strategies is meet with bus drivers to discuss different strategies that we can use to help them submit the referrals. One of the things that was discussed, and this was kind of a strategy taken from another school, it's called we call it Bearcat Bus of the Month, award program that recognizes drivers for their willingness to participate in behavior modification. Basically what we would do is encourage drivers to write either positive or negative referrals. Let's say, I know I've given you 4 Bearcat tickets this week. Right? Have a real easy form where they just write the name, right? We can go ahead and make it out for them. Bearcat Bus Award or referral or positive or whatever we want to call it. Have them put their name on it, and then boom, they can hand that to whoever's on the bus with them that day, and just hand it to them. And then what we would do is every time they write a positive or a negative referral, if there is a behavioral issue that needs to be written up, they write the negative referral out, turn that in. Every time they write a referral, we put their bus number in a pot. And then at the end of each month, we just draw out a number, and that bus is the Bearcat Bus of the Month. We can reward the bus drivers. I know one school was rewarding bus drivers with just little gift cards that maybe we get donated, or we can use,
We even
some
talked about
nominal
lunches,
funds.
school lunches,
Right.
or things like that. School, things.
Invite them for a free school lunch, or like I said, just a small nominal gift card of some sort. Again, just to kind of, it's not so much we want them to write the referrals. We also want them to feel like they're a part of what we're literally trying to do from a behavioral modification standpoint.
Well, if we're going by the idea of PBIS, that it's
It
more
is.
positive than negative, and if they're being positively rewarded for participating in our positive rewarding program,
It's going to trickle down, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same idea with teachers, right? I mean, if teachers are being rewarded for, obviously positive feedback and positive support of it, then it trickles down to the student. And that's kind of the
Well, I
idea.
feel like, for bus drivers, they're at multiple schools, and so
Right.
it's kind of different for them. They're dropping kids off at the high school, at the middle school, so it's a little different for them. So if we can get them to buy into our system and to really participate, then I think that, like you said, it'll trickle down where those kids will be.
But I think that's probably more. It's probably more of a next year. I mean, we can meet with them now, but you may have different bus drivers. It won't be as fresh in their mind, so you've got several months.
the year we had them here for breakfast, they were on it. I mean, they were on
We
it.
did
on
it. We
on
did it a couple years while I was here. We had them for
Yeah.
breakfast, and there were
they
some that
really
did a wonderful job.
participated.
And I mean, there are going to be those. Unfortunately, there are some drivers that just aren't going to participate as
Like
well.
teachers.
Yeah, just
Right.
like
Yeah.
no different than teachers. Like, why are we rewarding them because they're doing what they're supposed to do? That kind of thing. But
Fair.
most of all, our bus drivers are really good. They are. We've got some great bus drivers.
So what's the expectations of the bus garage? I mean, are they rewarded from their higher ups? Are they expected to do this as well?
No.
So what incentive really do they have?
Whatever
It's
we
not
provide.
part of their job.
Well, the
description.
incentive is that if they have good bus behavior, their job is
It's
significantly
easier,
less
yes.
stressful.
Right. And I think that's something we discussed at that meeting. Say, look, we want to support you to make your job easier. We want to make your trips to and from school less stressful and less chaotic. And this is just kind of an incentive to do that because, like you said, they may not be getting anything from their management as any kind of reward
It's
or
supposed to
incentive.
be a district-wide thing,
Right.
but that doesn't necessarily.
It gets implemented.
Include that.
Well,
Right.
again, though, I think you go back to the bus garage. You've got buses going to, have 20 different schools throughout the district, so it's hard to
In
really.
addition to extracurricular
Yeah.
activities that they do.
And I think the schools have to kind of reach out and make that connection. So, but that's kind of something in the future. Then number 4, this is kind of to address maybe that 6%. Those students that are repeat offenders are really having a difficult time on the bus, especially those that maybe don't already have special transportation. It's just a little bus buddy mentor program. Just kind of maybe assign those students with responsible 4th or 5th grade student that's riding that bus. Maybe even a third, if it's if we don't have any older students, you can probably find a very responsible 3rd grader to just model that behavior. And just say, hey, this is gonna be your bus buddy. You're gonna sit with them on the bus. They're gonna kind of help you, to and from school, and just kind of show you kind of what we're expecting and what we'd like to see. And I think that's something we could, especially after we looked at the data initially next year, if we're seeing some of the same issues, that could be something that we can do. All right. Any other questions or ideas, concerns?
No, these are great.
So,
That's good.
thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Morning, White Tower Elementary. I heard it's about that time. The teacher at the door greeting the students. It's a wonderful Wednesday, workout Wednesday.
I actually had a question for